Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
My name is DJ Woldridge.
Boom, and we're talking about Swamp Thing over at DC Universe, a show that has already been canceled, but gang, we are staying right here. We're going to keep on trucking.
We're staying
It's
positive.
a good show.
It is a good show.
Maybe Netflix will buy it.
Oh, apparently CW and HBO are both looking at it, or is the rumor I heard on the street.
HBO would be pretty cool.
HBO would be very cool. Also, HBO would be very cool for Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Because to get some of that HBO, just a fraction of that Game of Thrones money.
Just make the gigantic rats and cockroaches look just a little bit more realistic.
Robot may be able to move his mouth.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yes, we're talking about Swamp Thing. So just so you know, this is a mature show, and there is an asset that will pop up of a body ripped apart. So that's just gonna happen.
That's just gonna happen.
Them's the rules. You got the warning right now.
This is gonna be spoilers because the episode's out now. But we're not gonna curse. I'm reminding myself of that.
There you go. Try our best.
Yeah.
Try our best. We're gonna try our darndest. See, there you go.
Yes, exactly.
So this is for episode 103, or just episode 3.
Yeah.
Depending if we're getting more. Driven to cure the worsening epidemic in Marais when her friend and coworker Harlan is stricken with the green flu, Abby searches Alec's lab for a cure, but instead finds the latest supernatural reanimation from the rot. Although Swamp Thing uses his strange new powers to intervene, he's more desperate than ever to find his humanity. Meanwhile, Avery Sunderland is facing increasing pressure from financial sources and Sheriff Cable, who questions him about the death of Alec Holland. Now, I do want to point out something that we said last week about the overall plan from Sunderland. There's actually a correction we got about his plan is not so much Lex Luthor blowing off California to make more beachfront property.
Yeah.
It actually is a tactic that could be used to make more land because the way it was described to me in the comment, you can also comment again and correct me if I don't remember this correctly, but that the more plant life you start growing, is a way that you could drain the swamp so that you could actually have more land to develop.
Okay,
and I didn't understand that when we talked about it last week. It actually is a tactic that, the way it was described, has been used before. Not as an accelerant. Yeah, but there are in smaller ways that is a tactic you could use. Now, please correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Whichever way it goes.
It's interesting. Those summaries are like, it's the rot. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. They're not waiting at all. The rot is from Swamp Thing comics and DC Comics proper. It is it's a fun thing to play with. It's super creepy.
Yeah. So for those that are not familiar, specifically, this was a big deal in Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire's Swamp Thing and Animal Man. Specifically, where the different kingdoms, originally it's the green, which is plant life, which I think was introduced by Alan Moore, but then they expand it to the red, which is animal life, which Animal Man is the avatar of, and then the rot, which is entropy, death, the natural, it's not necessarily evil inherently, but it's the natural order of taking things out, and it is expressed through creatures that are closely associated with it, like flies and bugs and other creepy crawly things.
Things used for decay. Which is super cool. And the idea in that comic, I remember the crossover. It was all three of those kingdoms fight for control all the time. Some team up with each other to take one down. Like if animals become too prevalent, you need the rot and the green to kind of come back in and make sure that they don't overrun everything. The rot is a super fun thing to play with. In the beginning of this episode, we kick it off with Alec Holland, the proper actor, talking, it kind of seeming out of place and talking to the man who we just saw get ripped apart by Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing seemed confused by what happened.
Yes.
So there is a weird connection of Alec Holland somewhere, or version of Alec Holland, dealing with the ramifications of what Swamp Thing is doing, or what he is doing as Swamp Thing. We don't know the angle of what this show is going to do with Swamp Thing as of right now.
But then we see the Swamp Thing is standing over the body of
the gentleman.
The remains of the gentleman, if you want to put it generously.
Yeah, this is in the 3-2. Boom.
Yeah.
And we see the rot pull that guy right back together. Yep. Practically, the practical effects on that are unbelievably impressive. And guess what's really gross? When the rot, when this gentleman goes up to another gentleman and throws all the rot into him and eats him up.
I'm very interested to see the interplay between the green, the rot, and whatever's going on with the green flu and what that is.
It looks like the green flu's done, though.
Well, but that's the thing. It says that I didn't. Maybe you can correct me on this. I didn't quite understand. It's the idea. It's not fighting. It's fighting back. So we just let the people have roots grow out of their face.
I think
Don't try and treat it. You just let it happen.
that maybe the green is trying to protect those people for something that is coming. Maybe it's the rot. Maybe it's a supernatural force. Maybe it's something else. And when you try to fight it, it's behaving the way it. Or actually, that's not great either. It's a little confusing because if we are to believe that that's there to help them, whenever something does come and attack them, are they going to just explode into roots? Because that's not helping anybody. That's pretty bad news bears.
So I don't. Maybe the green feels threatened, and this is how it's behaving. So maybe we helped the people, but now we still need to do the underlying problem, which I think is the accelerant. And now the rot's got something in the game. And then I'm interested to see how the rot. And it sucks, man. It sucks because when you're talking about stuff like the rot, you're definitely they're laying the groundwork, and people have started talking out around the show that they're definitely, with Blue Devil and Xanadu, they're laying the groundwork for possible spin-offs or the Justice League Dark.
So cool.
And they're definitely, with the rot, they're laying down Anton Arcane, which is not only one of Swamp Thing's big bad guys, but he's one of the big magical villains in the DC universe. And it's like, I want that stuff. I want that stuff, man. I want it. Yeah, I want that stuff. So bad, and I like the way it's setting up. I will say, just off the bat, for me, this was one of the 3 episodes. This is one of the weaker ones. I still enjoyed it. I thought the first 2 were stronger.
This had me more than the second episode, but all of them have been good for me. We are learning more about Sunderland, that he, shockingly, is not a good guy.
Yeah. And he, because we're going full spoilers, he claims his first victim, which was a little weird for me. It's always a little, like, you could defend yourself, especially the way Will Patton's playing the character. He's like hobbling around and stuff. It's like you could have taken that guy.
This guy looks like he can't run. You could take him. That death is impressive also when he talks about like the cleaners coming in and taking care of it. Like he's going to get away with this fully, and this might not be the first person he's killed.
Yes,
this might not be. We don't know though.
Yeah, and classic villains like rich villain stuff. It's not actually his money; it's his wife's family's money. So suddenly the good husband stuff he's done, where he stuck through the hard times, might have been more craven than we thought.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah.
No, things are not looking good for the Sunderland.
And we also spend some time with the Cable family, which is brother and sister. The Cables are the cops.
Yes.
The guy cop, and then I'm blanking on the actress's name, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Elder Cable.
You're gonna just look it up. It's okay. No, we see that their relationship, especially the male siblings' relationship with Abby, is evolving, and we might see something there. Could we see a love triangle between this guy, Abby, and Swamp Thing?
You 100% will.
Oh yeah, maybe the scene from the Alan Moore Swamp Thing comic where you actually
they doink.
John Constantine has to get involved so that they can have a little spirit baby. That one's a weird one.
Yeah,
gang.
Jennifer Peels plays Lucilia Cable. And it looks like her and Will Patton might have a thing, which was weird.
It was weird, but also it rightfully creepy for Sunderland. When you hear, he's like, oh, she's asleep, it's fine.
Yeah, she never comes down after she goes to bed. Mm-hmm. Oh, weirdo, get out of here.
I did like the confrontation from the accountant in the house and how Sunderland reacted, not just when he goes to his house and it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel good when you come to someone's home unannounced and start saying stuff. It's like, I'd put it out there, this is not the same thing. Hey, I get it. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't kill a guy over it, but and also him having an affair because of course he did. Because he's a 100%. Manipulative bad. He's a bad guy.
Yeah. He's definitely the villain of the season,
which is great. And also we get more of Woodrow, who is
his
doing his autopsy on the body that we saw kind of come to life in the first episode, which was super cool. And you can already tell that wow, this guy blows. This guy really sucks. I'm
definitely 100% getting Dr. Octopus vibes from Spider-Man 2.
Really good.
Yeah, where it's of course he does the classic on the verge of being a villain, it's not the people that matters, it's the science that matters. That's a super villain crap, man. Cut that out. You know what I mean? And then but his wife has a degenerative brain disease. It's it's all there. All the
bit of a Mr. Freeze, which he'd be good at too.
He would be. I'm excited to see what they do with him, because I think our biggest antagonist payoffs have to be Sunderland and Woodrow this season.
Which, again, being just candid about the situation in the show, I don't know if we're going to get that payoff.
Yeah, because especially since they had the 3-episode, it would not surprise me if we get a finale that is similar to Titans finale, where it's like
that did kind of blow.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, remember, of the three of us when we were reviewing Titans, I was the most on board, and even I was a fan. I was like, oof. Oof.
That was a bummer. And it's just because they're setting up so many cool aspects. Like, there are a lot of really cool aspects of the DC Comics universe, and they've been explored in different ways, but the darker, mystical side hasn't really been explored in any movie or TV.
level.
I mean, Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow did their magic seasons. I get it. But at this level, like where they're fully embracing the darker aspects of it, it's so cool. And they're nailing it so far. And I really like the addition of Blue Devil and Xanadu is like your side. It's just like a C plot that's happening where he's just like, I want to get out of this town. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen. Xanadu was used in a really cool way in this episode. Yeah. And I like these. Since you pointed out who's playing Blue Devil, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm on board with this actor. And something's gonna come his way, but it's definitely not gonna be good. Probably.
Yeah.
I mentioned this last time, but there is a image floating around out there. Don't want to spoil it for you, but of what Blue Devil looks like,
and it theoretically could be on whatever film he was on, but
it looked bad. It looked very visceral, which is super cool. It looks a lot cooler than, not that the comics doesn't look cool. It looks like a demon, though, which is super cool.
I'm excited for what the show's doing. I really do hope. For some reason, it feels like way out there, just because. Whatever, but I do hope somebody, and not CW. I kind of hope it's not the CW that picks it up, because it's like you need
the cheddar.
Yeah, well,
you can't make this. You can't make this in BC.
Yeah, not just that, but like the violence. Not that it needs the cursing, but it helps. Like this show of the shows feels like the best use of the R rating that these shows are getting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I want to be able to have that show. Oh, give it to me. It hurts talking about it. It's like I don't want the show to go away.
I don't want it either, because I'm excited for Young Justice to come back. I'm excited for Stargirl and the other shows and Titan season 2. They just announced Mercy Graves is joining the cast, which is really cool. There was a picture of Crypto, and I'm like, of the Caller, which made me happy. But it's just like, you guys have. It's unbelievable that this app exists.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's so cool that we're able to support it, and so can you guys, and it can create more of the shows like this.
Yeah.
But man, I really want to see a version of this like darker corner of the mystical side of the DC universe on screen in some way. They're really killing it with this show.
And if you're like, oh, I don't know, I want more of a superhero show, definitely Swamp Thing straight up pulls like a Batman and like explodes out of the floor, and it's like, oh, there's the superhero show.
It's like, oh man, it's amazing. I really like that he kind of had he said, let this man go, and the rot went away. That doesn't mean that the rot's gone.
Yeah.
But Alec Holland or Swamp Thing or whatever he is now has a weird-ish understanding of what is happening a little bit. He doesn't know what's happening to him, which is great that he talked. And also when he did
it sounded so cool. I don't know if that's Derek Mears' voice, who's the actor in the suit. I don't know what they're doing to manifest the voice. But it sounded like, oh yeah, that's Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's a good gravelly voice. Honestly, it'd work for like Ben Grimm too. Both of them are pretty good. And I also liked when he did a scream at one point in the vines. It was CGI, but it stretched over his mouth. And I'm like, because he's still just like a pile of plants moving around.
And I think some of the assets from the first episode made it look like he didn't have a mouth. And then in the second he did. I was like, what's going on there? It's like, oh, because it's kind of like he has to manifest a person in this. You know what I mean? Like he's forcing himself into existence, essentially.
And Charles Soule did the run where he had wings, right?
That was Scott Snyder.
Yeah. Which I'll say is pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool. And I wouldn't mind. I mean, it's hard to even do like fan casting now, or fan like wishes for a show like this, because it would be amazing to see like the shapeshifter aspect of Swamp Thing. He can be whatever he wants. And when it comes to Alec Holland and that other man that got ripped apart, I don't have a name for him, the man who got controlled by the rot as meat, that idea of kind of maybe Alec is kind of floating around the green, or maybe this is like a dreamlike space. There's something really cool happening there where the actor who plays Alec Holland can still be utilized.
Also,
super on board.
Crazy calf muscles on that boy. When he's looking at his feet, it's like, whoa!
Bow. No, it's he's a healthy boy.
Yeah.
By the way, we'll just throw up Abby's friend really quick because she's about to die.
Yeah, she's investing Sunderland, and she's definitely going to be put in peril. And I hope they don't. You're one queer character of color on the show. Come on, man.
Come on. You can do better. I think DC does better.
Yeah.
Everything they did with Negative Man and Doom Patrol
was great. And it's cool to have a place where they really let these shows be what they need to be. And I'm worried that when it gets looped into the Warner Brothers app, that it's so rare that you get this. Even though we superhero storytelling is so ubiquitous, even now, because the Marvel brand is so successful, the Marvel shows in the Disney Plus are going to be like, they're going to have the same feel and be part of that brand. It's good to have these shows that, like, no, what would a Swamp Thing show? Whether it hits that or not, the pitch meeting is, what would the perfect Swamp Thing show look like? And they're trying to make that show. What would the perfect Doom Patrol show look like?
Man, I could see this show maybe being picked up on Warner Brothers app, the Warner Media app, whatever.
But then I don't think it would have been canceled. I don't think they would have said canceled. I think it would have just been
hiatus. But it's so weird, and I'll put this out there too, with DC being so cagey about the outcome of where the show is. But it was canceled, but then no one said anything after that. And they're like, Young Justice is coming, just wait for that. And it's like, no, say a little bit more, because you did just do a huge ad campaign for this show. Yeah. And I don't know, and there's no way that you didn't know this show was going to be you didn't know it was going to be canceled before that. You knew for a while, right? Or maybe I'm crazy. You know what I'll say?
But they definitely
my fan theories
weren't waiting for. It doesn't feel like they were waiting for. Normally, you wait for that first episode. Like, I could imagine exec being like, "Oh, this is garbage. We're going to wait till the response to the first episode, and then when people are saying it's bad, we'll cancel it." But it's not bad, and people weren't saying it was bad, and people seem to like it a lot.
Maybe it didn't increase revenue. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. But I will say, listen, it's canceled, but right now you're getting a really solid, cool show that I would like to see other places, and I would like to see John Constantine show up on this show. That's all I'm saying.
So far, we've gotten amazing character design, violence, mystery, and supernatural elements.
Listen, maybe we can get Derek Mears in the costume on Legends of Tomorrow.
The costume's already made.
We've already got it.
They already got it. It's in the storage.
We don't have the budget to do the lighting to make it look good, but hey, we got it.
It's gonna look pretty. It's gonna look as good as Firestorm did, which was not bad.
Not bad. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I don't know.
Do your best.
Check it out. And again, as we've always said, when you go to check out the show, you can also check out Doom Patrol. You can also check out Titans. And I do hope a lot of at least Doom Patrol get looped into Warner Brothers app or get someplace. Maybe get some of that HBO money. I don't care, but come on.
So far, the mystery is unraveling in a really cool way. I think kind of similar to Contagion. There's fun stories to tell when it comes to biological agents, and the Green Flu is super super fun in terms of, it's not like zombie-esque. It's just the most violent death you can think of via plants. And I can't wait to explore more of that. And hopefully it's not resolved too quick. But at the same time, you have the rot being some sort of threat. Yeah. Throw the red in there. You threw the rot in there like it was nothing. You could do the red.
100%.
Super on board. But gang, really quick, let's rate it out of 10.
Out of 10, I think I'd give this an 8 or maybe a 7.5.
I'd give it an 8.5.
I'd give it I'll say an 8 because I liked it, but I thought the first 2 episodes were nailed it, and this was this is good.
I want to see more of Alec Holland, the actor, where he's at and what that means for Swamp Thing, because we have our theories of it could be that Swamp Thing is just the memories. Mm-hmm. The body's gone, which is super cool. And that was teased on the poster. So this isn't Alec Holland anymore. It's just a copy of him. Yeah. Maybe he is there and he can come back in some way and Swamp Thing can be his own thing. That can happen too. Whatever it ends up being, just come on, HBO, buy this show already.
Yeah, come on.
You're making a Watchmen show. Make a Swamp Thing show. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. You could call it your Alan Moore Power Hour, and he'd love it.
He'd love it. He would love it. Please pay him. Please pay him. But yes, let us know what you thought of this show, and if be honest, if Swamp Thing being canceled kind of turned you off from even checking the show out, you can be honest about it. Yeah, because I could see a person that might want to check out a review of the show if they're interested. Mm-hmm. Let us know if that kind of turned you off from it, because it kind of turned me off from watching it a little bit when I heard that, but I still want to watch it. I still want to review it, and we're lucky to be able to watch it a little early so we can get these reviews out in time. So, gang, let us know. Make sure you subscribe and check out Might Be Awesome, because we have reviews for Toy Story 4 and for Men in Black International and a deep dive for Men in Black. Ooh, so much content. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.